They told her she was too fragile to survive, too small, too breakable. But in a world where dragons choose who lives and who burns, fragility is just another way to die. Welcome to Basgiath War College, where aspiring riders either bond with dragons or end up as ash. In Rebecca Yarros' fourth wing, 20-year-old Violet Sorrengail enters a brutal academy built on power, politics, and secrets. Her mother commands the Empire's armies. Her classmates would rather see her fall. And the boy sworn to hate her may be the only one who can keep her alive. But behind every test and every flight, something darker brews, a truth that could shatter the Empire itself. Tonight, we soar through fire, lightning, and betrayal, tracing every heartbeat of Violet's journey from reluctant cadet to legendary rider. This is Fourth Wing, where love is a weapon, trust is deadly, and only those who dare to fly survive. Part 1. The Fragile begins the flight. The novel opens in the militarized Kingdom of Navarre, a nation locked in an endless war against its neighbors. Power and status in Navarre depend on one's role in the military, particularly among the elite dragon riders, warriors who bond with dragons and wield their lightning-infused magic called signets. The story's heroine, Violet Sorrengail, never expected to be a dragon rider. Her late father was a scholar and scribe. Her older brother Brennan was a rider who died in battle. And her formidable mother, General Lilith Sorrengail, commands the entire Rider Quadrant at Basgiath War College, the Empire's most dangerous training ground. Violet is small, physically fragile, and bookish. Her bones are weak, her muscles slight, and she spent her life studying history, not fighting. Her plan was to join the Scribe Quadrant, where her father once taught, preserving the histories of Navarre. But her mother has other ideas. On the morning of selection, Lilith coldly informs her daughter that she will enter the Rider Quadrant or be cast out of the family entirely. Violet's life changes in that moment. Every year, hundreds of cadets die trying to enter Basgiath's Rider Quadrant. The first test, the parapet, is infamous. A narrow, wind-lashed stone bridge that stretches hundreds of feet over a deadly chasm. There are no ropes, no rails, and no second chances. Fall, and you die. Among the crowd of new cadets, Violet immediately stands out, frail, nervous, and clearly unprepared for combat. Her best friend, Rhiannon Matthias, offers encouragement, but many others mark Violet as an easy target. In particular, the new cadets are aware of her family name. The Sorrengail bloodline carries both glory and hatred. Her mother commands Basgiath, but her brother Brennan was part of a rebellion years ago that nearly destroyed the kingdom. That rebellion was led by rebel commander Xaden Riorson, and the survivors' children are now required to attend Basgiath as punishment, bound to the empire that executed their parents. Among them is Xaden Riorson himself, cold, charismatic, and lethal. He immediately recognizes Violet as the daughter of the general who killed his father. Before the parapet, one cadet tries to shove Violet off the edge. She fights back, barely clinging to life, and manages to reach the other side, using her wits and agility rather than brute strength. Her survival shocks the others and earns her both respect and hostility. By the time she crosses, dozens are dead. Basgiath has begun its first culling. Once inside, Violet faces the brutal truth of Basgiath. Survival is everything. Cadets train, fight, and die daily. The weak are eliminated in deadly sparring matches or from exhaustion. The dragons choose only the strongest, and they never bond with cowards or the unworthy. The Rider Quadrant is divided into squadrons, each with its own hierarchy and deadly politics. Violet is placed in the fourth wing, led by Xaden Riorson, whose calm dominance and piercing black gaze command both fear and loyalty. His right-hand man, Imogen, and other older riders like Garrick watch Violet closely, unsure whether she'll last a week. She also meets Jack Barlow, a cruel and arrogant upperclassman who openly mocks and threatens her. He's determined to see her fail, and even die, before she embarrasses the riders by surviving. But Violet finds allies too. Rhiannon, a clever and loyal friend who refuses to let her fight alone. Rhydock, witty and kind, who helps her navigate the cutthroat culture. And Dane Atos, her childhood friend, the son of her mother's second-in-command, who tries to protect her at every turn, often to her frustration. Violet quickly learns that protection can be deadly here. One of the earliest challenges in Basgiath is the Gauntlet, a physical trial designed to test agility, speed, and strength. Many cadets die attempting it, their bodies left where they fall. Dane insists Violet withdraw before she's killed, but she refuses. She won't let her mother or her enemies see her break. Through trial, error, and stubborn determination, Violet studies the obstacle course and uses her intellect to overcome her body's weakness. She learns the course's rhythm, using momentum and leverage where brute force would fail her. When she finally completes it, bloodied, shaking, but alive, the crowd goes silent. Even Xaden watches her finish, his expression unreadable. For the first time, Violet earns a flicker of his respect. Basgiath's instructors are relentless. The cadets learn tactics, flight formations, and history, but mostly they learn how to kill. Every lesson reinforces a single truth: fly or die. At night, Violet studies by lamplight, reading old texts about dragon lore and strategy. She discovers that the Rider Quadrant has many secrets. Dragons bond rarely, and only with those they deem worthy. But once a bond forms, rider and dragon share their power, and when one dies, the other follows. Violet's fascination with ancient histories and symbols draws her toward forbidden texts in the scribe archives, remnants of older wars and myths that suggest Navarre's history isn't as simple as her mother claims. As weeks pass, her small victories earn her quiet admiration from other cadets and the attention of her enemies. One night, a cadet ambushes her in her room, trying to kill her before she can reach the threshing. The day dragons choose their riders. She narrowly escapes, realizing that in Basgiath, murder isn't just tolerated, it's expected. Meanwhile, the tension between Violet and Xaden deepens. He continues to warn her that she won't survive threshing, yet he also intervenes subtly to ensure her safety. During training, he studies her fighting form, offering terse advice that helps her survive, even as he insists he has no reason to save her. Their interactions spark with danger and attraction. Xaden's calm authority and sharp intelligence contrast Violet's vulnerability, but beneath his hardness, she senses a buried sense of justice and sorrow. Rumors spread that Xaden secretly leads the children of the rebellion, and that he and his followers are using Basgiath's system to build strength from within. Violet doesn't know whether to fear or trust him, but she can't ignore him. As threshing day approaches, the air hums with tension. Dragons gather in the valley beyond the mountains, drawn by instinct and fire. For Violet and the others, it is the day of reckoning. If a dragon chooses you, you live. If none do, you die. Part 2, Threshing Day and the Fire Within. As threshing day dawns, the cadets march through the high mountain pass toward the Vale, a vast valley where dragons gather to choose or kill their potential riders. The path is steep and cold, the cliffs echoing with distant roars. Dozens will die before the day ends. Violet's body aches from weeks of brutal training, but her mind is clear. She has studied every known account of dragon behavior, their colors, temperaments, and territories. She knows the risks. Dragons never bond out of pity. They burn those who show weakness or fear. The cadets split up to wander the valley and seek out dragons who might choose them. The air hums with lightning and heat. Massive shadows sweep across the mountains as dragons circle overhead. Reds, blues, golds, silvers, and the rarest of all, black dragons, the most powerful and dangerous. Violet knows she has little chance. Her size and frailty make her an unlikely candidate, and dragons prefer riders who can protect them in battle. Still, she presses forward. While searching the cliffs for dragons, Violet encounters Jack Barlow and his allies. Jack mocks her weakness, insisting she'll never be chosen. When she refuses to back down, Jack attacks, trying to push her off the cliff. The fight is quick and savage. Violet struggles to defend herself, but is no match for his brute strength. Just as he's about to strike a killing blow, a shadow falls over them. A massive black dragon lands nearby, its scales rippling with lightning. It is Tairn, a legendary and feared male dragon larger than any she's seen. Jack freezes, but it's too late. Tairn incinerates him in a burst of black fire, protecting Violet. At first, Violet assumes Tairn is simply angry that a human dared attack another in his presence. But when the dragon lowers his massive head and looks into her eyes, she feels a searing connection ignite between them. Their minds touch. She feels his thoughts, his fury, his pride, and something else. Recognition. Tairn chooses her. The bond burns through her body, lightning racing along her nerves. She collapses, gasping, as power fills her veins. But she's not done yet. As Violet struggles to stand, a sudden roar splits the air. A small gold dragonette, barely half the size of a full-grown dragon, charges into the clearing. It's Andarna, a young female dragon, too small to fight, too curious for her own safety. Tairn, protective and commanding, warns her away, but Andarna refuses to leave Violet's side. To everyone's astonishment, she too forms a bond with Violet, her eyes glowing as she touches the human's mind. A dual bond is unheard of. Dragons bond with one human, never sharing. The energy from two dragons nearly overwhelms Violet, burning through her fragile body. She passes out in the valley, Tairn's wings shielding her from the storm. When she wakes hours later, she's alive and changed. Her skin crackles faintly with lightning. She can hear Tairn's voice in her mind, deep and commanding, and Andarna's softer, curious thoughts. For the first time, Violet feels not fragile, but powerful. Her return to Basgiath is met with disbelief and awe. Two dragons have chosen her, a bond so rare it borders on impossible. Even the instructors are uncertain how to treat her, and rumors spread like wildfire through the ranks. Her classmates' reactions are divided. Rhiannon cheers for her, proud and protective. Rhydock and Sawyer are astonished. Dane, however, grows uneasy. He insists the bond must be a mistake and tries to persuade Violet to hide her connection with Andarna, fearing it will draw dangerous attention. Meanwhile, the Dragon Rider's hierarchy shifts dramatically. Tairn's presence commands respect and fear. As a black dragon, he is bonded to none other than Skyle, the mate of Xaden Riorson's dragon. This means Violet and Xaden are now linked by their dragon's bond, forced to sense each other's emotions through the telepathic connection between their dragons. Neither is pleased about it. Through Tairn, Violet begins to understand the dragon's perspective. Dragons do not see themselves as tools of war or symbols of power. They are ancient, sentient beings who fight only for causes they deem worthy. Tairn tolerates no weakness, pushing Violet to strengthen her mind and body. Andarna, meanwhile, teaches her patience and empathy, a reminder that power without understanding leads only to ruin. Under Tairn's influence, Violet trains harder than ever. She learns to use her newfound strength to endure sparring matches and to focus her mind, to communicate with her dragons even across distance. She also begins to feel Tairn's lightning magic stirring inside her, the power known as signet potential, which manifests differently for every rider. It hasn't fully awakened yet, but it's there, waiting. As her confidence grows, so does the tension with Xaden. Their dragon's bond means they can sense each other's moods, often pulling them together in moments of high emotion. During training exercises, they clash constantly, his arrogance against her stubbornness. Yet there's an undeniable attraction simmering beneath the hostility. Violet's victories earn her the respect of some cadets, but also more enemies. Many believe she only survived because of her family name or sheer luck. Others whisper that she used trickery to win her dragon's favor. Jack's death leaves a vacuum among the bullies of Basgiath, and several of his friends vow revenge. Attacks in the shadows become more frequent, and Violet realizes that the biggest threat isn't always on the battlefield, but in her own barracks. One night, she and Rhiannon are ambushed during a patrol exercise. Violet barely escapes alive, saved only because Tairn senses her distress and intervenes telepathically, warning Xaden to send help. It's the first time Violet sees that despite his hard exterior, Xaden won't allow her to die. Not while their dragons are connected. Violet soon discovers that Tairn's bond makes her unique even among the riders. When an instructor tries to discipline her unfairly, Tairn threatens him through the dragon link, and the man backs down immediately. Even the commandant hesitates to challenge a bonded black dragon's will. This gives Violet unexpected leverage, but also responsibility. The dragons are watching her closely, testing whether she'll use her power wisely. Meanwhile, whispers of unrest beyond the borders of Navarre grow louder. Missions are dispatched into enemy territory, and more riders die on patrols. The war that once felt distant begins to creep closer to Basgiath itself. In her rare quiet moments, Violet studies the histories her father once cherished. She begins to question the official version of Navarre's wars, particularly the rebellion of Tyrrendor, which her mother helped crush. The surviving children of those rebels, including Xaden, still bear the marks of their parents' sins, forced to serve the very empire that executed them. Xaden's calm hatred of her family begins to make sense. She sees that he doesn't fight for the empire's glory, but for survival, for the chance to protect the others like him. And in the shadows, Violet senses that Basgiath's walls hold more than just soldiers and secrets. Part 3. Secrets, Signets, and the Rise of Power. With Tairn and Andarna bonded to her, Violet is no longer seen as the fragile scribe's daughter. The dragon's presence commands respect and fear, but it's a fragile equilibrium. While Tairn's power shields her from open attacks, his dominance also isolates her. The other cadets know that angering her could bring down the wrath of a black dragon, and isolation in Basgiath can be deadly. Violet refuses to retreat into safety. She throws herself into training with renewed determination. The daily regimen, combat drills, obstacle runs, aerial maneuvers, pushes her body to its limits. Her hands blister on the weapons. Her ribs ache from sparring matches, But she keeps going. She must adapt, or she'll die. Under the eye of Professor Kaori, the cadets begin studying signet manifestation, the moment when a rider's magical ability, granted by their dragon bond, awakens. Every rider's signet is unique, reflecting both their nature and their dragon's essence. Violet's classmates begin to show their powers: telekinesis, shields, elemental control, each ability a reflection of their connection. Violet waits for hers to surface, knowing Tairn's lightning heritage could mean something devastating. But for now, her power sleeps. As the months pass, Tairn grows increasingly protective and possessive. When Violet is injured during a training accident, he storms through the mental link, his rage shaking the very air. She feels his power pulse through her, his lightning pressing against her skin. It's exhilarating and terrifying. Andarna's bond adds another layer of complexity. The young dragon communicates in images and feelings more than words. She adores Violet with childlike affection and sometimes exerts strange effects when distressed. Time itself seems to slow down around her. Violet experiences one such moment during a deadly exercise. As a fireball hurtles toward her, the world freezes long enough for her to dive clear. Andarna doesn't understand how she does it, only that it happens when she's afraid for Violet's life. The implication is staggering. Time manipulation is a power that shouldn't exist, and Violet keeps it secret. If the instructors discover Andarna's gift, they might separate them, or worse. Inside Basgiath, the atmosphere grows darker. Rivalries turn to open violence as the weakest cadets are weeded out. The wing leaders, upper-class riders responsible for overseeing younger cadets, become increasingly harsh. Violet's wing, Fourth Wing, has one of the highest mortality rates, a grim badge of honor. Violet's main enemy remains Mira's old rival, Dane Atos, who believes Violet should have been a scribe. Dane's protectiveness morphs into condescension. He constantly questions her decisions, reporting her to instructors and insisting she knows her place. His signet, memory reading through touch, gives him a dangerous edge, allowing him to see her secrets if she lets her guard down. But the real threat is subtler. Assassins in the shadows, traps during training missions, accidents that are clearly intentional. Violet realizes someone wants her dead, and that it's not just personal rivalry. There's something larger at play. Through all of this, Xaden Riorson remains a constant, complicated presence. As wing leader of the Fourth Wing, he commands respect. His calm ruthlessness and unmatched fighting skill make him both feared and admired. He's also the son of the rebel leader who died by General Sorrengail's order, Violet's mother. Their relationship is volatile. He mocks her weakness but secretly helps her survive, slipping her advice, shielding her during training, even stopping others from targeting her outright. Yet every act of protection feels double-edged, a reminder of the blood that divides them. Their dragon's bond makes avoidance impossible. Through Tairn and Andarna, they share glimpses of each other's emotions. Violet feels his constant tension, guilt, fury, loneliness, and begins to realize that Xaden carries burdens no one else sees. She notices his quiet defiance against the Empire's rules, how he sneaks out on missions, how he protects other marked children, the offspring of executed rebels, scattered through the academy. When she confronts him, Xaden warns her not to ask questions she isn't ready to die for. Basgiath is relentless. Violet's cohort faces a series of deadly mid-year trials meant to simulate battle conditions. Teams must fly obstacle courses, fight aerial duels, and navigate magical storms conjured by the instructors. During one such exercise, Violet's squad is attacked mid-air by lightning drakes, massive flying beasts with venomous fangs. Her reflexes and Tairn's power save them, but she's injured and nearly falls. In the chaos, Xaden appears on Skyle, catching her before she plummets to her death. Afterward, in the infirmary, their shared bond pulses with intense emotion. Xaden's anger gives way to concern, and then something deeper. Their connection, long buried beneath resentment, begins to shift into trust. Still, both resist it. Love in Basgiath is dangerous. Attachment makes you weak, and weakness gets people killed. One night, while meditating to strengthen her link with Tairn, Violet feels a surge of energy ripple through her body. Wild, electric, uncontrollable. Sparks dance across her skin. She tries to contain it, but the lightning lashes out, striking a metal post across the room. Her signet has awakened. Tairn explains that her ability mirrors his. She can summon and channel lightning, controlling storms and discharging energy as a weapon. It's one of the most destructive powers known to riders, rare and feared. The discovery changes everything. Her instructors now see her as a potential weapon, not a liability. Dain, however, grows even more uneasy. He warns her that power like hers attracts political attention, and that the War College's leadership might not have her best interests at heart. Violet begins to suspect that Dain's loyalty to the command runs deeper than friendship, and that he's hiding things from her. As Violet's power grows, she starts to notice inconsistencies in the official reports of patrol missions. Certain riders are declared dead under mysterious circumstances, and others vanish entirely. When she questions Professor Kaori, the woman grows evasive. Later, Xaden warns her that the truth she's seeking could get her executed. Still, Violet's curiosity burns. She starts sneaking into the restricted sections of the archives, uncovering records that suggest the rebellion decades ago wasn't as simple as she was taught. The rebels may not have been traitors. They might have been trying to protect the realm from something far worse. Meanwhile, the wards, magical shields that protect Navarre's borders from outside threats, are failing in distant regions. Officially, it's blamed on rebel sabotage. Unofficially, Xaden and others whisper that creatures known as Venin, corrupted humans who draw power directly from the land, have returned. The problem? The Venin were thought extinct. The turning point comes when Violet catches Xaden and several marked riders sneaking out of the academy one night. She follows them to the cliffs, where dragons wait in silence. Xaden catches her, and instead of denying it, he lets her see the truth. He and his allies have been using their dragons to secretly defend villages beyond Navarre's borders, areas the government has abandoned. The Venin are real, and they are attacking. The Empire's leadership has been lying to its people, pretending the threat is gone to maintain control. Violet is horrified, torn between everything she's been taught and what she now sees. She realizes that her mother, General Sorrengail, is part of the deception. Xaden tells her bluntly, "The real war isn't the one they train you for. It's the one they don't want you to see." In that moment, Violet's loyalty begins to fracture. As winter sets in, Violet and Xaden's tension finally breaks. The dragon's emotional bond bleeds through their resistance, drawing them together. One night after a dangerous mission, they finally act on their feelings. A confession years in the making, tangled with guilt, need, and truth. Xaden admits he's known she wasn't like her mother from the start. that her courage and compassion make her dangerous to the Empire in a way even she doesn't realize. For the first time, Violet feels not just alive, but seen. But the moment is fleeting. They are still soldiers in a system built on lies, and the walls around those lies are beginning to crack. Part 4. War on the Horizon. By the start of spring, Basgiath War College feels like a powder keg ready to explode. The cadets are restless, losses are mounting, and whispers of unrest spread through the halls. Violet can feel it. The air is charged not just with dragonfire and training drills, but with secrecy and fear. Her relationship with Xaden Riorson has shifted completely. What began as mutual hostility has become something real, though neither can show it openly. Relationships between wing leaders and underclass riders are strictly forbidden, and discovery could mean execution for them both. Still, their dragon's bond makes concealment nearly impossible. Tairn and Andarna, deeply bonded mates, share thoughts and emotions freely, which means Violet and Xaden often feel each other's strongest feelings, especially in moments of passion or danger. The connection is intoxicating, but also dangerous. It blurs the line between what belongs to them and what belongs to the dragons. As Violet balances her studies, training, and growing love for Xaden, she begins to suspect that something big is coming. The professors act nervous, the command posts more patrols, and even the dragons seem agitated. Violet's suspicions solidify when a series of riders go missing during patrols along the border. Official reports blame rebel ambushes, but when Violet secretly reads their flight logs, she notices an impossible detail. They disappeared inside Navarre's protected zone, well within the wards. That shouldn't be possible. The wards, ancient magical barriers that repel outside threats, are powered by dragon energy channeled through marked points. If riders are vanishing within them, then either the wards are weakening, or something is moving through them unseen. Xaden confirms her fears one night when he takes her on a secret flight beyond the official borders. There she sees firsthand the devastation left by the Venin. Scorched earth, villages turned to ash, bodies drained of life. The Venin are not a myth. They are powerful, corrupted humans who draw magic directly from the land rather than dragons. Their feeding poisons everything around them, the soil, the air, even themselves. And they are spreading. Xaden and his group of marked riders have been fighting them in secret, risking treason to protect the innocent. If Navarre's leadership admitted the truth, panic would erupt and the regime's authority might collapse. For Violet, this revelation shatters the last remnants of her faith in the Empire. Back at Basgiath, tension reaches a breaking point. The Commandant, aware that something is amiss, begins interrogating riders about contraband missions. Punishments grow harsher, and cadets disappear overnight. Dain Atos, Violet's childhood friend and squad leader, grows increasingly suspicious of her. His sense of duty, once comforting, now becomes suffocating. When he tries to touch her, to see her, memories with his signet, Violet recoils, realizing that his loyalty lies with the Empire, not her. Their friendship fractures permanently when she accuses him of being a spy for command. Dain doesn't deny it. Instead, he tells her she's being manipulated by Xaden and the rebels, echoing her mother's rhetoric. Violet walks away from him for good. Meanwhile, Andarna, the young golden dragon, begins to change. Her scales darken slightly, and her energy wanes. She confides to Violet that she is growing, and must enter a deep, protective sleep to survive the transformation. Before she withdraws, Andarna promises Violet that she'll return stronger. But her absence leaves Violet vulnerable. Without Andarna's additional bond, her energy reserves weaken, and she can no longer rely on time-slowing magic. Tairn becomes more protective, aware that Violet's dual-bonded nature makes her a target for those who fear her power. By the end of the training year, the atmosphere at Basgiath changes from academic competition to military readiness. Rumors of a Venin incursion reach even the most sheltered cadets. Violet begins to see her classmates in a new light. Not rivals, but future soldiers marching toward a war no one will admit exists. When the final evaluations come, the top riders from each wing are assigned to real missions along the borders. Violet expects to be sent to a nearby garrison or back to the archives to assist with strategy. Instead, she's chosen for a field mission, one led by none other than Xaden himself. The order is suspiciously specific. A mixed team of marked and unmarked riders deployed to a remote outpost near the Malik Vale, a mountainous pass long considered secure. Even Xaden looks uneasy when he reads the directive. "They're sending us to die," he mutters. The group sets out under cover of night, flying over jagged peaks toward the borderlands. The journey is grueling. Icy winds, thin air, and constant vigilance. Violet rides Tairn, her lightning crackling faintly in the clouds around them. Xaden flies beside her on Skyle, his expression grim. When they reach Aritia, the outpost appears abandoned. No patrols, no lights, no response to their signals. The riders dismount to investigate, weapons drawn. Inside, they find signs of struggle. Claw marks, burned walls, empty armories. The ground is slick with something black and oily. It pulses faintly, as if alive. Then the truth hits them. The Venin have breached the wards. Moments later, the attack begins. Dozens of Venin emerge from the shadows, their eyes glowing red, their bodies seething with raw power. Behind them, massive wyverns, twisted dragon-like beasts, tear through the sky, shrieking. The riders are outnumbered, but they fight with desperate fury. Tairn unleashes torrents of lightning, searing the Venin to ash. Skyle's shadow fire slices through wyverns in midair. Violet channels her power through her body, calling down bolts of pure lightning that light up the mountains. But the Venin don't die easily. Each one destroyed releases a surge of raw magic that poisons the air, making it harder for dragons to breathe. Several riders fall, burned alive or torn apart mid-flight. Violet is struck by a Venin's blast and nearly thrown from Tairn's back. Pain consumes her, but she clings to the bond, summoning everything she has left. She channels lightning directly through her body and into her weapon, a spear crackling with power. When she throws it, the impact obliterates the Venin leader, but the recoil nearly kills her. In the aftermath, as the survivors regroup, Violet learns the truth. This mission was never meant to succeed. Command sent them here to confirm Venin presence, and to eliminate the marked riders in the process. It was a purge disguised as a mission. Dine's earlier warnings echo in her mind, but now she sees his loyalty for what it is: blind obedience to a system built on lies. Her mother, General Sorrengail, must have approved the mission. Violet is furious, heartbroken, and resolute. She vows never to serve an empire that sacrifices its own. The battle has cost them dearly. Several riders are dead, and many dragons are injured. The survivors, Violet, Xaden, and a handful of others, decide to fly to Aricha's stronghold, a hidden rebel base where they can regroup. At Aricha, Violet finally sees the truth with her own eyes. The rebels the Empire condemned as traitors are actually fighting to protect Navarre from the Venin. The Empire's refusal to acknowledge the threat is not ignorance, it's cover-up. They fear losing power more than losing the war. Violet meets other riders, soldiers, and scholars working together in secret to rebuild the wards and defend the realm. They tell her that the wards are failing faster every year, and that if they collapse completely, the Venin will sweep across the continent. Her entire education, every official history she memorized, has been a lie. Before the riders can rest, the Venin strike again. They've tracked the survivors to Aricia, and this time, their numbers are even greater. The dragons rise into the sky once more, lightning and fire colliding with dark magic. Violet fights alongside Xaden, their powers in sync, her lightning amplifying his shadows. It's the most devastating display of their bond yet. But victory comes at a terrible price. As Violet drives her power into the Venin army, the magic overloads her body. Her vision fades, and she feels herself falling. Xaden catches her, refusing to let go, even as explosions of corrupted energy tear the fortress apart. The world goes dark. On Part 5, The Truth and the Shadow. When Violet regains consciousness, everything hurts. Her body feels scorched from the inside out, every nerve raw. The last thing she remembers is the battlefield. The Venin closing in, the sky burning, Xaden's arms around her as the world exploded. Now, she wakes on a stone bed in an unfamiliar chamber. The air smells of smoke and herbs. Her skin glows faintly where Tairn's lightning still hums under the surface. She tries to move, but pain lances through her chest. Tairn's voice rumbles in her mind, filled with both relief and restrained fury. He tells her she's been unconscious for days, that the survivors brought her to Aricia's hidden stronghold, far beyond Navarre's reach. Violet struggles to piece together what happened. The last stand at Aricia destroyed much of the Venin force, but many escaped. The battle exposed the truth. The wards are broken, and Navarre's command has been sacrificing riders to keep it quiet. The rebellion is not treason, it's survival. Once she's strong enough to walk, Violet explores the fortress. Unlike Basgiath, it's not cold or regimented. Dragons perch freely on the cliffs, their scales glinting in the sun. Riders and scholars work side by side, repairing weapons and rebuilding ancient wardstones. Here, she finally meets the real leadership of the rebellion. Riders, historians, and mages descended from those who fought in the original uprising. They confirm everything Xaden told her. The Venin have returned in numbers not seen in centuries, feeding on the Earth's magic and eroding the barriers that protect the human realms. The Empire's propaganda painted the rebels as power-hungry traitors, but their true goal has always been to restore the wards and unite the dragons and riders against the Venin. Violet is furious, not just at the lies, but at her mother, General Violet Sorrengail, who has been complicit in perpetuating them. Her father, a historian who died mysteriously years before, may have known the truth. His research into the wards and old rebellions might have been what got him killed. Xaden Riorson stays near her while she recovers, though their dynamic has changed again. Their connection is deeper, their shared trauma binding them more tightly than ever. But Xaden is haunted, his eyes shadowed, his words cautious. He reveals that he knew the full truth of the rebellion long before she did. Every mission, every risk he took was to protect the stronghold and the secrets it guards. He never expected Violet to survive Basgiath, much less stand beside him in this fight. She confronts him about his secrecy. The lies, the half-truths, the manipulation, and he accepts her anger. "You deserved better," he tells her quietly, "but I needed you alive first." Despite her fury, Violet understands. The Empire's cruelty left him no room for trust. Still, the revelation reopens old wounds between them. The blood debt between their families, and the knowledge that her mother would see him executed if she knew where he was. Yet for all their differences, Violet and Xaden are united now by something greater: the truth that their war is just beginning. As Violet regains her strength, her old instincts, the curiosity of a scribe's daughter, reawaken. She immerses herself in the fortress archives, comparing rebel records to official histories. What she finds horrifies her. Centuries ago, the First Venin War nearly destroyed the world. The ancient riders created the wards to trap the Venin in distant lands, sealing them away. But the magic requires constant reinforcement, and as dragons die and the Empire's focus shifted to expansion, the wards began to fail. Instead of rebuilding them, the Empire covered it up, labeling any attempt to expose the truth as rebellion. Violet realizes the full scope of the betrayal. Her own mother has been sending riders to die while denying the existence of the enemy that's actually killing them. Every death, every training accident, has been part of that lie. She vows to expose it, no matter the cost. Even as Violet studies, she continues to train. Her connection with Tairn has grown stronger, more balanced. She can now call lightning with precision, shaping it into arcs or waves at will. But each use drains her physically. Her body, still fragile from birth, struggles to contain such immense power. Without Andarna, she tires faster, her magic burning through her reserves. She misses the golden dragon's voice in her mind, the way time used to bend when danger struck. Tairn reassures her that Andarna will return when her growth is complete, and that she will be formidable. Meanwhile, Violet and Xaden train together daily. Their powers complement each other, her lightning illuminating his shadows, her precision balancing his aggression. The connection between their dragons amplifies their synergy, allowing them to fight as one. Their trust rebuilds slowly, forged through shared combat rather than words. Weeks later, a messenger dragon from Basgiath arrives with sealed orders, a rare communication channel between the Empire and the missing riders. The message, addressed to Xaden, is chilling. It states that the survivors of the Iridia mission are declared dead in action. Their names have been struck from the rolls. No one in Navarre will ever know they lived. Violet realizes that this is how the Empire erases dissent, not through public executions, but through silence. You don't rebel if you're already a ghost. She grieves briefly for her friends at Basgiath who will think her gone, Rhiannon, Rhydock, Sawyer, and wonders how long it will take before her mother finds out the truth. Life in the rebel stronghold settles into a fragile rhythm. Violet learns to fly with precision across Aricha's jagged cliffs, sparring in aerial maneuvers and testing her endurance. She begins working with the scholars to decode her father's old research, which may hold the key to rebuilding the wards. Meanwhile, scouts bring word of growing Venin activity near Navarre's borders. Villages are disappearing. Entire patrols are being wiped out. The rebellion's efforts to contain them are stretched thin. Xaden insists they need to rally allies within Navarre, to bring riders like Rhiannon and others into the truth. Violet agrees, but knows it's dangerous. Even whispers of disloyalty can mean death. Despite everything, there are moments of peace. Laughter between training sessions, stolen time under the stars. For the first time, Violet feels both strong and whole. But peace never lasts long in the world of riders. One night, the fortress alarms sound. Dragons roar across the cliffs, calling every rider to arms. A patrol has spotted movement near the valley. Not venom, but something far stranger. When Violet and Xaden arrive at the courtyard, they find a single figure standing among the dragons, surrounded by dark smoke and magic. The man turns, and Violet's heart stops. It's someone she knows, someone who should be dead. He steps forward, eyes glowing faintly with red light, the unmistakable mark of the Venon's corruption. It's Xaden Sorrengail, Violet's brother. For years, Violet believed Xaden had died in the rebellion, killed by Xaden's father and the Empire's purge. His name was erased from all official records. But here he stands, alive, and clearly part of the rebellion's leadership. The truth crashes over her. Her brother has been working with the rebels all along, helping to rebuild the wards and fight the Venon in secret. The Empire faked his death, just as it faked so many others. Xaden greets her with a smile full of both love and sadness. "Welcome home, little sister," he says. Tairn and Andarna growl in warning as Violet steps forward, overwhelmed by disbelief and relief. Xaden's eyes flicker, red light fading for a moment, a sign of power, not corruption. He explains that he's not Venon, but something new. A rider who has learned to channel magic in a controlled balance between dragon energy and the land's essence. He's proof that there may be a way to fight the Venon without destroying oneself. The realization leaves Violet shaken and hopeful. For the first time, she understands that the rebellion's cause isn't just survival, it's transformation. The riders of the old empire and the rebels are going to have to come together, or they'll all burn. As the sun rises over the mountains of Aricia, Violet stands with Xaden and Xaden, looking out over the vast horizon. The wind carries the faint scent of storm and fire, the world changing beyond the horizon. The truth is clear. The wards are breaking. The Venon are returning in force. The Empire is crumbling under its lies. And Violet Sorrengail, once the fragile daughter of a general, is now one of the most powerful riders alive. But the cost of truth is only beginning to reveal itself. As Tairn's wings unfurl and lightning sparks along the clouds, Violet hears Xaden say quietly, "The real war starts now." And she knows he's right.
Please like, comment, share, and subscribe for more videos.